In 1970, a 13-year-old girl was discovered in Los Angeles. Her name was Jeannie, but for most of her life she had no words, no contact, and no world. She had been locked in a single room since infancy, restrained for hours on end, and denied any normal interaction with life. When they found her, she couldn't chew food or recognize everyday objects. Her perception was blank, not because she was broken, but because her mind had never been shown how to see. And yet, over time, something strange happened. She began to speak, to connect, to build a personality out of thin air. Her brain, hungry for meaning, started stitching together a reality from whatever scraps it could find. Just like that, a person emerged. Not remembered, but invented. Jeannie didn't recover a self, she assembled one. And this reveals something unsettling. Your mind doesn't just receive the world, it constructs it. So ask yourself, how much of your reality was built the same way? How much of what you see, feel, and believe was never chosen by you, but downloaded into your mind before you had a chance to question any of it? Jeannie shows us that when the mind is starved of input, reality disappears. But what no one tells you is, when the mind is full of input, it does something else. It creates an illusion so complete, you forget it's not the truth. To understand how deep this illusion runs, we need to start with something most people never even question, the idea that what you're seeing is actually there. Because what if your vision, right now, isn't showing you reality at all? 1. You've never seen the real world. The world you think you see isn't what's actually there. Your eyes aren't windows, they're sensors. They take in raw data, light, shapes, color. But it's your brain that turns all that chaos into something that looks like a chair, a tree, or your reflection in the mirror. You've never seen reality. You've only ever seen your brain's version of it. The world, as you know it, is a mental painting built inside your skull. Take a look at optical illusions. Why do they trick you? Because what you see isn't what's there. It's what your brain assumes is there. A shadow, a depth cue, a line that seems to bend. It's not perception, it's prediction. Reality is filtered through a storyteller in your head, and it edits out anything that doesn't fit the plot. That's not vision. That's illusion in disguise. Let's say you're walking down the street and you glance at a stranger's face. You don't really see them. Your brain matches patterns, hair, eyes, skin tone, posture, then it files the person under a mental label. Safe, unsafe, attractive, forgettable. That's not truth, that's compression. The mind is running a shortcut program to save time, not show you what's real. So ask yourself, if you've never seen the world directly, what does that say about your perception? What if seeing is more about memory than reality? Maybe the world you trust the most, the one you see with your own two eyes, has been lying to you this whole time. And maybe the next truth isn't in what you see, but in how you see it. 2. What you see is a prediction, not reality. Most people don't realize this, but what you see right now isn't what's in front of you. It's what your brain expects to be in front of you. Vision isn't a raw feed from the eyes. It's a construction. Your brain takes a little bit of input from your senses and mixes it with a mountain of past experiences to build a guess. You're not seeing the world. You're seeing a projection based on what's most likely. This isn't philosophy. It's neuroscience. Your reality is a best guess algorithm dressed up to look solid. That's why you can stare straight at something and still miss it completely. Ever walked into a room looking for your keys, and they were right there on the table, but you didn't see them? That's not forgetfulness. That's perception. If your brain didn't expect them to be there, it simply didn't render them. Like a video game that loads only what the player needs, your mind saves energy by skipping over what doesn't fit the script. It's not a glitch. It's the design. This predictive system is why two people can look at the same event and come away with totally different memories. One sees danger, the other sees opportunity. One sees disrespect, the other sees nothing. Your beliefs shape your perception, not the other way around. It's not what's out there, it's what's already in you. Your fears, your hopes, your past. They tint everything you see, like wearing glasses you didn't know you were wearing. Vision, then, is not neutral. It's biased, personalized, distorted by design. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of your vision is memory. Your brain isn't letting you see reality. It's feeding you a controlled illusion that makes you feel safe, functional, and in control. But if what you're seeing is just the mind's guess, then what's actually there when the guessing stops? That's not just a question for the intellect, that's a door. And behind it lies something the mind can't predict. 3. Vision is delayed. You live in the past. The moment you open your eyes, you're already behind. Vision isn't instant, it's processed. Your brain takes about 80 milliseconds to decode the light that hits your eyes, which means you're always looking at a version of reality that already happened. You never see the now, only the just before. It's like watching a live stream that's slightly delayed, but you forget it's delayed because the interface is so smooth. And that delay? It's invisible, but it changes everything. Think of it like a security camera feed. You're not watching real-time footage. You're watching the recording your mind stitched together milliseconds ago. It feels live, but it's not. And the illusion is so convincing that it becomes the default. So when you reach for your coffee or cross the street, you think you're reacting to the present, but you're not. You're reacting to the past. Every decision, every movement, every smile you return is based on information that's already outdated. This is why awareness isn't about reacting faster. It's about slowing down and recognizing the delay. Because once you see the lag, you start questioning the tape your brain is playing. Is what I see really what's happening, or is it just what's left over? Athletes, for example, train their nervous systems to cut this lag by conditioning their responses. But what happens when you realize that even they are still reacting to echoes? The present is never yours. It's always just out of reach. So the next time someone says, live in the moment, ask yourself, which moment? Because the moment your mind calls now has already passed. And if you're always late to reality, then maybe seeing clearly has less to do with speed and more to do with silence, with the kind of vision that doesn't depend on time at all. But where would you even begin to find that? 4. The inattentional blindness trap. There's a famous experiment you've probably heard of, the one where people are asked to count how many times a basketball is passed. And right in the middle of the game, a person in a gorilla suit walks through the scene, waves and leaves. Over half the participants never see it. Why? Because they weren't looking for it. The eyes saw it, yes, but the mind didn't. And this simple test exposes something far more unsettling. You only see what your mind lets you see. Your attention is like a spotlight, and everything outside of it might as well be invisible. You could be surrounded by beauty, danger, opportunity, or even truth, and miss it entirely. Think about that. You could walk past the love of your life. You could scroll past the one idea that would change your future. You could live your entire existence blind to what's actually happening because your mental filter said, that's not important. Inattentional blindness isn't a bug. It's how the mind copes with overload. But what if the gorilla isn't in a video? What if it's in your relationships, your work, your inner world? What are you not seeing right now because you're too focused on what you expect to see? Most people only look for confirmation. They want the world to match their beliefs, and so they miss the things that would shatter those beliefs. You can't see past the story you're telling yourself, and until you question that story, everything outside of it stays hidden. So here's the bigger question. If your mind is blind to what it doesn't expect, then what else has it been ignoring? What else has walked right past your vision, waved at you, and disappeared unnoticed? Because if a gorilla can vanish in plain sight, what do you think happens to truth? And are you sure it hasn't already tried to reach you? 5. You think you're seeing, but you're actually filtering. Your eyes take in around 11 million bits of information every second, but your conscious mind can handle only about 50. That means over 99.99999% of reality gets thrown out before it ever reaches you. Let that sink in. Your perception isn't showing you what's there. It's showing you what your mind deems useful. And what defines useful? Your beliefs, your fears, your past. You're not seeing the world. You're seeing the world through you. Think of your mind like a nightclub bouncer. Every piece of visual data walks up to the velvet rope, and your brain decides, you can come in, you can't. Maybe joy tries to get in, but your past trauma says, not tonight. Maybe opportunity knocks, but your insecurity turns it away. You think you're making choices based on what you see, but in truth, you're seeing what fits your narrative. Everything else gets filtered out before you even know it existed. This is why two people can live in the same city, work the same job, and still feel like they live in different worlds. One sees threat in every glance, the other sees potential in every stranger, the same sidewalk, the same traffic, but different realities. That's because awareness isn't passive, it's personal. Your vision is a mirror that reflects the inside, not a window that reveals the outside. So ask yourself, what's your filter allowing? And more importantly, what's it hiding? Because here's where it gets strange. If your perception is filtered, and your filters are unconscious, then how much of your life has been guided by things you never actually saw? What doors were opened that you didn't walk through? What moments tried to wake you up, but never made it past the rope? 6. Your mind projects reality like a movie. Imagine your brain as a movie projector, sitting quietly in the dark, casting images onto the screen of your perception. But here's the twist. It's not projecting what's really there. It's playing your story. It takes fragments of reality, mixes in your memories, your beliefs, your fears, and stitches together a seamless narrative that feels like the present moment. That's not just poetic. It's biological. Your brain edits your experience like a film editor, leaving scenes on the cutting room floor that don't fit the plot. Think about how you remember your childhood. You don't recall every moment. You remember the story, the highlights, the emotions, the symbols. That's exactly how your mind treats perception. You're not living in reality. You're living in a mental highlight reel that gets updated constantly to match the current you. Each scene you walk through is wrapped in meaning and filtered through the lens of interpretation, and most of it is recycled from the past. It's not real. It's recognizable. It's like déjà vu, isn't it? That eerie feeling you've seen this before. Because in a way, you have. Your brain is looping you through familiar patterns, reinforcing the same emotional beats. The soundtrack of your life, regret, ambition, anxiety, isn't playing behind the scenes. It is the scene. And if you've ever wondered why you keep repeating the same situations, relationships, or failures, it's because your mind keeps playing the same genre of film, and you're still starring in the same role. So here's the uncomfortable question. If the film is always rolling, who's writing the script? If you're just watching the scenes play out, then are you truly seeing life, or just watching your internal production? Because maybe the story isn't the problem. Maybe it's the camera. And what happens when you stop filming altogether? When the movie fades and all that's left is the raw, unfiltered awareness, watching in silence. 7. Seeing is believing. But belief comes first. People say seeing is believing, but the truth is, it's the other way around. What you believe shapes what you see. Your brain isn't neutral. It bends perception to fit your existing worldview. If you believe the world is dangerous, your mind highlights threats. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll notice every betrayal. This isn't intuition, it's filtering. You don't just see reality, you see a version of it that fits the beliefs you've been carrying for years, often without realizing. It's the reason confirmation bias exists. Show someone a neutral event, a stranger staring, a dog barking, a silence in conversation, and their mind colors it. One person thinks, they're judging me. Another thinks, maybe they're shy. Same event, different stories. And here's the kicker, both people believe their version is real, but neither of them saw reality. They saw their beliefs in action. Your eyes might be open, but your mind is doing most of the seeing. And your beliefs are the director behind the camera. Want proof? Look at placebo studies. People take sugar pills and experience real healing because they believe they'll get better. The body follows the mind. But this doesn't just happen in medicine. It happens every day in how you judge your self-worth, your relationships, your potential. If you believe you're not good enough, your vision will prove it. You'll see rejection even when no one's rejecting you. You'll find flaws where none exist, not because they're real, because belief comes first. So now the question becomes, what are you believing that's blinding you? What invisible rules are shaping your reality? Rules you never questioned. Because if belief shapes vision, then seeing clearly might have nothing to do with your eyes. It might have everything to do with dropping the stories. But how do you see when the belief falls away? What's left when there's nothing left to believe? 8. Awakening. Seeing without the mind. Real vision begins the moment the mind gets quiet. Not when you think clearly, but when thought itself loses its grip. When you stop naming things, judging them, categorizing them. That's when something strange happens. You don't just see objects, you sense presence. The world stops being a collection of labels and becomes alive. Ordinary moments, light on a wall, the way the wind moves, suddenly feel sacred. Not because of thought, but because thought finally got out of the way. Imagine standing in front of a mountain. Normally, your mind jumps in. That's Mount X. I saw a documentary on it. It's huge. But when the mind falls silent, you don't see a mountain. You experience it. No labels, just stillness, just presence. That's true vision, not clouded by mental commentary. Just raw awareness, untouched by memory or meaning. It feels like a home you forgot you left. And strangely, everything looks new, even though it's been there the whole time. This is what sages and mystics point to when they talk about awakening. It's not about becoming someone better. It's about seeing without distortion, without the noise, without the mental movie playing over everything. And it's not something you achieve. It's something you notice when the illusion stops. You don't need to seek anything. You need to stop seeking. Just sit, just watch, without reaching for explanation. And you'll see the world not as your mind tells you it is, but as it actually is, wordless and whole. And here's what makes it even more mysterious. When you see without the mind, you stop being the one who sees. There's no you watching anymore. There's just vision, just perception, just pure awareness. And in that space, the lines between you and the world blur. The illusion of separation dissolves. But if you aren't the one seeing, then what are you? What remains when even the observer disappears?